Hello students, welcome back. Let's resume Math 1324 Business Algebra. And the next topic is Lesson 8, Quadratic Equations. In Lessons 1 and 2, we went through linear equations. Now the topic is quadratic equations. In other words, equations of this form. ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0, where the leading coefficient a is non-zero, so that this part does not drop out. If a is 0, then this one just drops out, so the equation is no longer linear. Here, the key is equal to 0 in the right-hand side. Why is that? Well, that's going to be answered in 1.2 and 1.4, but before that, let's have just a little bit of digression. What if the right-hand side is non-zero? Well, let's see. I just make up a problem. Okay, I just made up a problem. If the right-hand side is not 0, then flip everything to the left-hand side and make right-hand side equal to 0. In this case, however, looks like it's going to be a little bit more convenient to move everything to the right-hand side and make the left-hand side equal to 0, because this one, 9, is greater than 2. So let's go ahead and flip everything to the right. Subtract, and then you get 7x squared. And then we have 6x here, 3x here, that's going to be flipped over, so we get subtraction, 3x. And then negative 5 here, negative 4 there, flip it over, we have plus 4, so minus 1 equals to 0. Looks like that's what you're going to get if you move everything to the right-hand side, so that keep one side equal to 0. Yeah, it used to be left-hand side equal to 0, but I can always change left-hand side and right-hand side. Anyway, this way, you can make all quadratic equation into the standard form, where one side is equal to 0. Now, the general case can be far more complicated. There can be some parentheses to break up or the denominators to work out, but in the end, if you simplify, take the like terms, and then flip over, you're going to get a standard form. ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. If you're done with that, now you're in business and you can go ahead with the solution method for quadratic equations. There are 3 solution methods, and we're going to go over the most elementary one in this video, and the other method will be the first to the second, third, maybe 4th video. Okay, here we go. The first method is the factorization method. And here is the most elementary case, but oh boy, there's so many characters, it's really difficult to see what's what. So let's work those out with examples. Okay, here we go. Let's see, what if we have this question? X squared minus 6x plus 8 equal to 0, and let's solve that. Now, I know for a fact that everybody went through intermediate algebra or equivalent, so that everybody is capable of factoring quadratic trinomial like this. Do you recall? Factors of 8, positive 8 to be a little bit more precise, that adding up to negative 6. So what do we have? 1 times 8? No, that doesn't work. 2 times 4? That's it. But 2 times 4, that's not right, because 2 times 4 is 8. Yeah, that's true. But 2 plus 4 is positive 6. So plus 2 plus 4, add them up, positive 6. That's not right. This is correct factorization. Does everybody recall? We have positive 8, so we have to have 2 identical signs, same signs. Negative 2, negative 4 will do, and they will add up to negative 6. Does everybody recall the factorization method? For monic trinomial, it's easy. Monic, I mean by the first coefficient is 1. so that you don't have to write. All you have to do is to look at the constant term and find out its factors that'll add up to the linear coefficient, in this case -2 times -4. Okay, all right, let's come back to the problem. So we have x minus 2, which I'm highlighting in blue, and x minus 4, which I'm highlighting in red. So blue times red is equal to 0. Now, did I say equal to 0 and the right-hand side is key? Well, here it comes. Blue times red is 0, which means one of them has to be 0. Either blue is equal to 0, or red is equal to 0. There is no other way. The right-hand side is equal to 0, and there's no way to get 0 by multiplying two non-zero numbers. If the right-hand side is not 0, then there are infinitely many pairs of real numbers that will multiply into whatever the right-hand side. And they don't have to be integers, you see, so there are really infinitely many pairs. But if the right-hand side is 0, then one of them has to be 0. Either blue is 0 or red is 0, like this. And from blue equation, I get x equal to 2. There goes one solution. And x equal to 4. There's a second solution. This one came from red. This one came from blue. So let me complete all those color coding. Now, what do you have to remember? You should know factorization trick. And then once you factor, either blue is 0 or red is 0, so that we get two solutions. In short, one quadratic equation, which is complicated, became two linear equations, which are simpler. And that's possible because we have factorization, blue times red equals to 0. If the right-hand side is not 0, then nothing like that works. Let's repeat this one more time. Let's see, what if we have something like this, but, well, let me change the problem just a little bit. Okay, let's suppose we have this equation. How to solve it? Well, this is not on the standard form, so let's make it into a standard form. Y squared minus 7y minus 18 is equal to 0, so that the right-hand side is equal to 0. And then you can go ahead with factorization. There's no point trying to factor this left side. If the right-hand side is not 0, then it's pointless. Right-hand side is 0, okay, all right. Now let's factor the left-hand side. How does that work? Well, factors of negative 18 adding up to negative 7. What is it? 1 times 18, that doesn't work. 3 times 6? No. 2 times 9. Is that it? No, not really. Previously, we had negative 4, negative 2, but not this time. We have negative 18, so we have to have two opposite signs. So negative 2 times negative 2 times positive 9, or positive 2 times negative 9, and then they have to add up to negative 7. So this is correct factorization. So it's a little bit different from previous case, where this coefficient was positive. The constant term was positive previously. This time constant term is negative, so we need two opposite signs. So y plus 2, which is blue, y minus 9, which I'm highlighting in red, is equal to 0. And then positive 2 times negative 9 is negative 18. And positive 2 plus negative 9 equals to negative 7. Yeah, everything fits. Okay. Y plus 2 is equal to 0. or y minus 9 is equal to 0. So that came from blue factor, and that came from red factor. And let's go ahead with the solution. Y is either -2 or y is equals to 9. This came from blue, and this came from red. Feel comfortable? Factorization method, and that should click. How to factor a monic trinomial. Factors of the constant term adding up to the linear coefficient. And then, of course, we have to remember the right-hand side has to be equal to 0. Yeah, here's the solution. Okay, enough time for one more problem, I think. Let's go ahead with this one. In this case, the right-hand side is far more complicated, so let's break all those parentheses and then take the like terms. Also, remember the standard order. Number 1, denominator. Number 2, parentheses. Number 3, like terms. No denominator here, so let's go ahead with the parentheses. Did I say I'm going to repeat that 100 times throughout the semester? I wasn't exaggerating. Right-hand side now break up 6z minus 18. Did I do this right? And then move everything to the left-hand side. Minus 4z. And then -18 cancel out. Looks like that's what I'm going to get. Did I do this right? Okay, right-hand side is 0, so let's factor. Z times z minus 4 is equal to 0. So we have blue is equal to 0, or red is equal to 0. So z is equal to 0, or z minus 4 is equal to 0. But we have seen it many times, so let me skip a step. Z is equal to 4, like this directly. Make sense? Oh well, one more problem. I don't know whether I can finish it or not, but let's try anyway. How about this? Again, the same thing, no denominator. So go ahead to the next step, break up parentheses. So break up this parenthesis, -2 times 3, so we have -60, and then -2 times +1, so -2. That's what we have in the right-hand side. So 3t squared plus 3 is equal to, and then -6t, and then 2 minus 2. So that's it, I guess. So 3t squared plus 6t plus 3 is equal to 0. Okay, all right, let's factor this. But before factoring it, let's simplify first. Divide everything by 3. You're going to get t squared plus 2t plus 1 is equal to 0. And then what do we have? You're going to get t plus 1. T plus 1 is equal to 0 if you factor it correctly. Or you can put those together as a complete square. T plus 1 squared is equal to 0. So we have a double root. T equals to -1 in this case. All these about quadratic equations with integer coefficients, where the leading coefficient is 1, so that the factorization is easy. We just went through the most elementary case. Let's come back and discuss more complicated expressions in separate videos.